AITA for insisting to my husband and his parents that I need help with our kids and we need to hire someone, and it's not me trying to pawn my stepdaughter off on someone else. My husband and I have 3 kids in our home. My stepdaughter is 9. I have known her since she was 2, and I became her stepmom when she was 4. We also have a 3-year-old son and a 10-month-old daughter together. To give some background info first, my stepdaughter's mom was not in the picture when I met my husband. She never wanted to claim any parental responsibilities, and when I met my husband, his ex had accumulated a lot of child support debt and had not seen my stepdaughter since the hospital. I signed up for being a second parent, and I love my stepdaughter, and in my heart I consider her one of my kids just as much as my bio children. We had such a good relationship. She would sometimes call me mom, sometimes my name, but she'd always say my husband and I were her parents, and she adored her brother when he was born. Over 2 years ago her mom came back into the picture and said she wanted to see my stepdaughter. My husband said it would need to be a gradual thing, but my stepdaughter had a right to know her. His ex didn't like that and sued for full custody, and yes, after having nothing to do with her for 7 years, she lost, but this started us on a step-up plan for her to gain some custody. It's been hell. My relationship with my stepdaughter suffered badly because of all this. Her relationship with her siblings has also suffered. She is rude to me now, refuses to listen to me, and rejects the 3 of us. It's always worse after she sees her mom. My husband took this issue to court, and the judge made it clear he will never sever the relationship between mom and daughter, no matter what. I'm struggling. If I give her the time and attention needed, it comes at the cost to our younger kids. But if I focus just on them, it's not giving her the time and attention she needs, and the counselor told us she needs to see I'm not going anywhere. She really emphasized that it was important. The counselor even spoke to the judge, a different one this time, and the judge said he was going to follow the previous judge's decision that contact is never to be severed between mother and daughter. My husband brought this issue back to court because it was getting worse. So now we're at a point where I can't be in charge of all 3 at the same time all day. Especially now school is out, but even during school time it's too much. I told my husband we need to hire some sort of helper for me with the kids. He was against it and told me it was a big expense after we spent a fortune on court and therapy. His parents heard us talking about it the other day, and they jumped in to say I wouldn't do this if all 3 were my bio kids, and I just want to pawn my stepdaughter off on someone else. I insisted this was not true to all 3, and I insisted I needed help because the kids will suffer in the long run, and so will my mental health. My husband felt guilty because I got very emotional, but his parents said I just proved I wouldn't do this if they were all really mine. AITA for kicking my friend and her kids out of my house. I F30 told a friend F38 that her and her 3 kids M15, F13, F11 could stay with me for 2 weeks while she went to DSS to file for rental assistance. I had already found multiple apartments that would work for her. I have 2 children of my own F8, M2. Her children sleep all day and yell at mine for being noisy in their own home in the middle of the day. She has decided that it is unfair for her children to be bound to the rules of my house, which includes that there is to be no roughhousing or video games played outside my children's bedrooms once I have put them to bed, and no children allowed in my bedroom. The only exception made to this rule is from 8:30 p.m. 8 a.m. as the youngest was sleeping in my room with her mom. Well, 2 weeks turned into over a month. She never went to DSS and spent most of her time outside drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana, activities not permitted in my house. I am also in a subsidized housing program and can't have people living with me, which she is fully aware of, and why the agreement was 2 weeks, the maximum length of time I'm allowed to have house guests per my program. So we are at a point where we are jeopardizing mine and my children's housing because she didn't hold up her end of the deal. I told her that she couldn't stay here anymore and that it was not negotiable. So now I'm the bad guy in the eyes of our mutual friend F40 and my sister F28, because now she has to couch hop with her kids because she won't go to a shelter, even though that would get her help faster. AITA for making a big deal over cupcakes. It was my birthday and my mom made me 6 cupcakes and I ate 2. I put 4 in the fridge to enjoy one a day over the next few days. A little treat after work. I get home from work and all of my cupcakes are gone. I asked my roommate what happened and she had her boyfriend over and they ate them. I was like, WTF. She told me she'd Venmo me for them. I told her they was made by my mom for my birthday. She told me that her boyfriend wanted them and put her in a tough spot and she hates to tell him no because he will get in a bad mood. I told her to stop dating Poss Man and you won't have this fucking problem. She act like I'm the meanest person ever and keeps sending me $10 on Venmo saying she's sorry and pouting around the apartment. I told her I'm not renewing the lease in September unless she dumps her boyfriend, and she said that's petty of me and she's in a tough spot and I need to stop making a big deal over the stupid cupcakes, and if I was going to be such a baby she would have never ate them. I told her that's the fucking point. AITA for making my cousin with autism leave the family party. I'll try to make a long story short. My brother 35 meters passed away in April in a pretty traumatic accident that left my mom devastated and depressed. Not only is she upset about his passing, but she seems to be stuck on how he passed. She told me the other day she can't sleep because she keeps wondering if he was scared or if he suffered while he waited for the paramedics to show up. She's been pretty isolated and refusing to leave the house since it happened, but I convinced her to go over to a 4th of July family party on Thursday. Before we got there, I texted everyone to let them know not to bring up anything to do with the accident because she was still upset about it and it would set her off. I specifically had a longer conversation with my cousin 22F because she has always struggled with just blurting out everything she thinks even if it's rude or offensive. We've had problems with this in the past and she always says it's because she's autistic and can't control it, or she just doesn't understand why she shouldn't be allowed to say certain things. I tried to explain as clearly as possible why she shouldn't bring up the accident to my mom because it would hurt and upset her, and she seemed to understand. Not even 5 minutes into being in the room with my mom, she starts talking about how she can't think about my brother without getting upset because she just knows that he must have suffered so bad and he died in such a horrible way, etc. Multiple people tried to stop her and I even cut her off a couple of times, but she just kept going and going. At this point my mom was crying bad. I had to take my cousin out of the house and we got into an argument because I accused her of doing it on purpose. I just can't understand how you can have a room full of people telling you to shut up and you keep going because you don't understand. Anyway, we got in an argument where I essentially made her leave the party because my mom wouldn't stop crying and cousin just kept doubling down saying she didn't understand why mom was crying because she was just telling the truth. She did end up leaving, but only after the hosts came and told her to leave too. Now her and her parents are texting me and my mom saying I need to apologize to her because I was discriminating against her and it wasn't her fault. She couldn't understand when people are upset. AITA for making her leave the party. I also don't think I should have to apologize, but I do know people with autism do sometimes struggle with understanding people and emotions. So maybe I'm just not getting it. Added, a lot of people keep assuming I forced my mom to go to this party and that's my bad for not making it clearer. She brought it up to me and asked if I thought it would be okay for her to go because she wanted to attend but felt guilty. She thought people would judge her if she wasn't sitting around crying all day. I convinced her not to listen to others and told her she could do whatever she wanted, and in the end she told me she wanted to go, so I took her so she could spend time with her mom. Our relationship with my brother wasn't exactly amazing and there's a lot of guilt, regret and resentment that she is experiencing right now that is making her extra sensitive. I have convinced her to see a therapist. She had her first session 2 weeks ago and she has agreed to keep going. My cousin is diagnosed by a doctor. She is high functioning and has low support needs. She lives independently as far as I know. AITA for not allowing my kids a snack after dinner. I 28F and my husband 32 meters have 3 beautiful boys together aged 8, 7, and 4. Almost every evening we sit together at the table as a family and enjoy dinner. We have a strict rule that if you don't finish your plate, you don't get a snack later or dessert. If our kids are full before their plate is gone, we let them leave the table but save their plate in case they ask for a snack later. This really hasn't been an issue until recently, and specifically tonight, where my husband and I got into a fight in front of the kids disagreeing if they could have a snack or not after dinner. For background purposes, financially I would say we are equal when it comes to income. My husband makes twice as much as me and pays all of the bills except the mortgage. I pay the mortgage, our youngest daycare, and I buy our groceries and any household necessities. We don't fight about finances. Recently my husband has been not allowing the kids to have a snack after dinner even if they finish their plate. I've been arguing back saying they finished, they're allowed a snack. Tonight our 7-year-old asked for a snack after dinner and my husband flipped saying don't ask again, you're not having any more food tonight. I told him he was being unreasonable and snuck my 7-year-old down to have a clementine and a banana. My husband thinks I'm the asshole for undermining his decision that the kids won't have snacks, but I think he's being unreasonable, and if we have the means to feed our kids dinner and snacks after, why wouldn't we? So am I the asshole? Added, I titled this wrong. I let my kids have a snack after dinner. My husband didn't. Sorry. AITA for missing my sister's wedding after she scheduled it on a date she knew I might not make it. Sister and fiancé, both early 40s, are getting married after many years of dating. First marriage for both, but they've been casual about this from the get-go. They decided to get married randomly after a conversation with friends prompted it. No proposal, wanted a courthouse ceremony and just a party with their friends. Our family has blown this up a bit. It seems to be moving now more towards a backyard wedding with friends and family. Several months ago, while they were discussing dates, my sister asked me what my availability was because I'm the only family that lives far away and I have 3 young kids, so I'm the most difficult to pin down. We talked through my schedule and I gave her dates that were kind of like no, maybe, and yes, absolutely. She said she was planning on those yes time frames anyways, so awesome. This will be great. Save the dates go out via email a few weeks later, and she set a date that was on my maybe weekends. I call and ask what's up. She said her in finance also kicked dates around with friends, and this was the one that seemed to work for them, so they decided to do that. The maybe reason for me was related to other travel I have already scheduled. Trying to get back to my hometown with my whole family is no longer an option. Now it becomes only some of us go, and not others, or we fly out on different days. It's a mess to navigate. She says hey, it's okay, I want you there. But I understand. I talked to my spouse, we decide it's too much to navigate. Too expensive to make it work. We're not going. My sister seems fine. She keeps downplaying mom-dad making a big deal out of this, says it's not even a wedding. Yada yada. I'm feeling okay, but my siblings and my parents are absolutely ripping me to shreds over this. They are piling on the heaviest guilt trips, accusing me of not caring about family and shit like that. Like I should just cancel and eat the cost of other things I've already paid for and can't get refunded and drop thousands of dollars to fly my family to this wedding that my sister scheduled to happen on a weekend when they knew I may not be able to attend. So Reddit. AITA for skipping this wedding? AITA for not correcting a guy who thought I was trans? This has sparked a big argument in my friend group. So I want some fresh perspectives. I'm 21 FM cisgendered and pretty femme, but naturally really tall. Basketball player tall. The last guy I dated was average height and I could rest my chin on the top of his head without going on tiptoes. It's almost never a thing. But some guys get weird about it, and I consider that free jerk screening. Anyway, this guy Jake 21M started hanging out with us a few months. Jake was very flirty with me for a couple of weeks but then completely stopped dead and his behavior totally changed. I didn't really think much of it and just assumed he started dating someone or realized I wasn't into him and backed off. About a month ago, I heard he used he/him pronouns for me and when I asked, he apologized and said he slipped up. But he did it again the same day and the next time I saw him and that's when I realized he thought I was trans and that's probably why his attitude changed on a dime the way it did. I thought about correcting the mistake, but decided to just let it go because it doesn't matter that much to me and I had been getting a little annoyed by Jake's flirting anyway. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We all got together for lunch over the weekend and someone mentioned another friend of ours who just came out as trans. Jake asked me point blank if it was hard for me to come out and the table just went dead silent. I said I'm not trans, so I don't know, but I think friend will be okay. He turned red and asked why I didn't correct him when he was having trouble with my pronouns. I said I did give him the correct pronouns. That's not what I mean, you should have told me you weren't trans. Turns out, someone I don't even know told him I was and that's why he stopped hitting on me. He messaged me later to say that we could be dating if I had just corrected him and then asked me out. I said no. Now he's mad and some of the mutual friends think I should have just corrected him when I figured it out instead of letting him look like an idiot. AITA for missing my sister's wedding after she scheduled it on a date she knew I might not make it. Sister and fiancé both early 40s are getting married after many years of dating. First marriage for both, but they've been casual about this from the get-go. They decided to get married randomly after a conversation with friends prompted it. No proposal, wanted a courthouse ceremony and just a party with their friends. Our family has blown this up a bit. It seems to be moving now more towards a backyard wedding with friends and family. Several months ago while they were discussing dates, my sister asked me what my availability was because I'm the only family that lives far away and I have 3 young kids. So I'm the most difficult to pin down. We talked through my schedule and I gave her dates that were kind of like no, maybe, and yes, absolutely. She said she was planning on those yes time frames anyways, so awesome. This will be great. Save the dates go out via email a few weeks later, and she set a date that was on my maybe weekends. I call and ask what's up. She said her in finance also kicked dates around with friends, and this was the one that seemed to work for them, so they decided to do that. The maybe reason for me was related to other travel I have already scheduled. Trying to get back to my hometown with my whole family is no longer an option. Now it becomes only some of us go, and not others, or we fly out on different days. It's a mess to navigate. She says hey, it's okay, I want you there. But I understand. I talked to my spouse, we decide it's too much to navigate. Too expensive to make it work. We're not going. My sister seems fine. She keeps downplaying mom-dad making a big deal out of this, says it's not even a wedding. Yada yada. I'm feeling okay, but my siblings and my parents are absolutely ripping me to shreds over this. They are piling on the heaviest guilt trips, accusing me of not caring about family and shit like that. Like I should just cancel and eat the cost of other things I've already paid for and can't get refunded and drop thousands of dollars to fly my family to this wedding that my sister scheduled to happen on a weekend when they knew I may not be able to attend. So Reddit. AITA for skipping this wedding?